You know,
Roll. All right, stand by, please. 1, 2, 3. Take it, Bill.
With Dolly Parton in Austin, Texas, where you did a little singing the other night for the first time in a while, huh?
Oh, I got real excited. We went out to the barbecue that they had for all the press and the people that were going to be at the premiere, and I hadn't been on stage since before I started the movie 9 to 5, except for Vegas, but it wasn't like the real people just out in, you know, just in the real country. And I was so thrilled. You said that I looked like I was enjoying it more than anybody, and I was.
And you got Jim Neighbors up, and you got him singing a little bit.
Yeah, he's good. Don't you love him?
Yeah.
He is the sweetest man. But I really enjoyed that.
You know, if right this moment I had to pick a couple of words to describe Dolly Parton, certainly gregarious and friendly and outgoing would have to be among them. You like people, don't you?
I do. Well, I grew up in a big family, grew up way back in the mountains, and it used to thrill us to death for people to come see us. And I think, you know, we'd see people coming like on a Saturday or Sunday, some of our kin folks, and boy, we'd just fly out to see them. We always hated for them to leave, and I think that just that excitement about just going and people coming, you know, to see you and just loving people. And like I said, growing up in a big family, very religious, open family, where love was a big part of our growing up. I just like people, and I have a good time doing what I do.
Did that, I suppose we'd call it Bible Belt religion, give you any pause when the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas was offered to you? Was there any conflict at all in your mind?
Well, I had a little problem deciding whether or not to do it. I knew it was a perfect thing for me to do as far as the personality and the clothes, the makeup, the jewelry, all the stuff I like. But my granddad is a preacher, and I was afraid that I might offend my granddad, and he's been pastoring a little church up home for, well, he's 70-some years old, and he's been preaching since he was 17. And I thought, oh, I mean, I can't disgrace my granddad this late in his life and this early in mine. And so I went to him, and he was the one I worried about the most. Mama and my daddy, he's like me. He could care less. He's mean as a striped snake. He gets a kick out of all this. But after I read the script and told him what it was about, and that the title was the worst part of it, then it was okay. But yeah, I did kind of go through a little deal in my mind.
What about them seeing that picture now? You're going to want to be there to try to reassure them when they first see it?
Well, see, I didn't see the movie myself until last night, the premiere. I knew I had seen some of the dailies, they call them, like what you shoot the day before, the day after you see them, and I knew basically what the movie was, but I hadn't seen it put together. And there were a few shots that I didn't realize was in there, like some of the, you know, real risque things, not of me, but of some of the girls. But I wouldn't want to take my nieces and nephews. If their parents want to take them, that's fine. I wouldn't say that our kids should go, or anybody's kids should go, little kids. But no, I don't want to sit by my granddad. For my part, it was okay. If I could just take my part out, but some of the other. But he'd probably love it more than anybody else. You know how those old guys are.
You find kidding about your obvious physical attributes easy and fun. Was there ever a time when you thought that when that kind of kidding was done, it was belittling your intelligence or the value of the rest of you?
When I first moved to Nashville, I didn't quite understand, because people were not that open about the stuff. I was always a little more flamboyant than most people in my hometown, and wore my clothes a little tighter, but I didn't do it just to be dirty. I just felt more comfortable in tight clothes and all that. But when I got to Nashville, a lot of people would kid about it, and I didn't know exactly how to take it. I didn't know if they was making fun of me or whatever, but soon I realized that it's very obvious. It's not something you can ignore. And people didn't mean to be rude, and so I decided that I would probably have the better Dolly Parton jokes. So I kid about it more than anybody. But it's okay now.
It doesn't cause people to think of you as frivolous or unintelligent or anything of that sort, does it?
It might have, until they got to know me. But I always figured if they got to know me, they'd see that there was some brains beneath all that hair and heart beneath the boobs.
You obviously want to get out performing live and contacting real people, but motion pictures now certainly have to be an important part of your future as well.
Well, I think that I probably could be a big movie star, screen star, whatever you call it. But I really like performing better. I like the music, and I feel like I have a good future in the movies if I want it. But I think from here on out, the first two, 9 to 5 was terrific. It spoiled me because it was so easy and so fun. It was the first one. It was all brand new. Then came the Best Little Chicken House in Texas, and it was very hard to do because it was very big project, and it was very unorganized from the standpoint that it came from a play. It changed hands so many times. There was a lot of problems, and but it really, I thought, whew, if this is what the movies are going to be, I don't know if I'm tough enough. But I think I'm tough enough. I think that the next time, though, I'll be involved, very involved in the producing of my own things, and I will probably write the stuff that I do.
One more time. Speaking of writing, one more question. Our time is up, actually. Speaking
Well,
of
that
writing.
went quick.
Yeah, they go by so fast. Speaking of writing, your music communicates with people. What is it? Your understanding of music, your understanding of emotion, of sentiment, of poetry. What is it that communicates?
I think it's my understanding of people. Because like you say, I love people. I think it's obvious. I want everybody to love me. Nope, everybody can't love you, and you can't love everybody. But you know, I really love to share. And I think because I do genuinely care about people. I grew up very poor. I've lived many lifetimes. I've been the poorest you can be. I've lived way back in the mountains without electricity. Then we went to, moved out. Then we went to more progressive living, and then with success, moved to the city, and then you really can live in suites. And still, my favorite thing to do is to go right back where I started from, and I love to camp out and all those things. So I think just being a person that's from everywhere, I feel like I can be some of everybody, and I think I understand people. And so out of that love for life and love for people, it's easy for me to write the feelings of people. I just assume that everybody feels what I feel.
And I'm sure all those folks out there can just feel all those positive vibes just
You
come
reckon?
right out through the camera. Dolly, thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
to see
It's
you
good
again.
to see you. Thanks.
We'll be back in a moment. Don't go away.
Okay. Good show, Bill.
I'm not listening.
Okay.
So Dolly can talk.
Thanks, Ron. Dolly, don't talk dirty.
Am I really talking?
Yeah.
You really want me to talk to you?
Not
about-
being heard.
Well, you are good looking, and if I was to, have anything else to say to you this early in the morning, I would probably say you look real good listening. Probably better listening. I remember telling you, you look like my boyfriend, Wayne Ball, and I'd see you turned again, and you look just like him again. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
You do. I remember now that you look like him.
What's the name again?
His name is Wayne Ball. He was my first sweetheart back in the Smoky Mountains. I almost married him. But Lord, I'm glad I didn't. Then I would have never met you. So
That should
anyway.
do it. Yeah, your secretary. The moment I walked in, your secretary said to me,